This rooftop garden has been nourishing body and soul for years, but it was completely obscured to passers-by until now.
Urban Harvest STL has long dreamed of beautifying the streetscape here at the Food Roof Farm. Food Roof Farm was built in 2015 and has continued to attract people for years. However, we realized from the street we weren't largely visible.
So they reached out to father and daughter team Robert and Liza Fishbone to create an eye-catching mural.
Each mural that we do is site-specific. We look at what happens in the area, what kind of people live here, is there a rich history we can tap into, what's the mission or the goal or the vision of the client.
So Urban Harvest STL exists to grow food and grow community, and I think that aspect of community growth is really tapped into with the mural.
This father and daughter team came together at the urging of Liza, a multidisciplinary artist in her own right, living in Austin, Texas, while Robert, a prolific visual artist, has been involved in over 200 mural projects, much of them with his late wife, Sarah.
This opportunity arose that my daughter caught wind of, and it was a contest here in St. Louis to design a mural for the west-facing wall of KDHX radio. I told Liza, I just don't think we could pull this off. And then 3 days before the application was due, she called me back. She goes, come on, dear, we got to enter. It's a lot of money, and besides, I want to learn how to paint big murals from you. Well, how could a father say no, right?
He has all of this old school knowledge. He's been doing this for over 40 years. And I come at it from like a younger place and a different kind of style. So it's a really cool collaboration.
Working with my daughter was a whole new relationship for us, and it really deepened our connection. If we weren't father and daughter, we'd be really best friends.
It took a lot of planning to transform this once bland building into this vibrant work of art.
We hosted him here at the Food Roof and sat amongst the plants and talked about the work Urban Harvest is doing in the community. From that conversation, we pulled the concept of nourishment. Food as nourishment, community as nourishment, and also art as nourishment.
The design process in any art is really pretty mysterious. It's like, how are you going to interpret this thing that, is maybe somewhat undefinable? And that's really where the art comes in, is how do we take our impressions, how do we take the goals, the building, the area, and filter it through the sum total of our experience and come up with something that's fresh and new and nourishing.
Not only did he look at our building from the exterior, looking at it from the street, but he also wanted to see the eyes of our own building out to the city and what it saw. And some of those elements are visible in the work that he ultimately ended up producing.
First was, let's create a mural that people will stop and go, whoa, what is this place? We wanted to embody some of their mission and about the plants that they grow on the roof. So the mural design is kind of psychedelic, but it's a little more peaceful than the other walls that we've done. And it has 4 of the flowers that we found on the roof. And then it also includes some design motifs that are inspired by the architecture surrounding the building.
I'd like to point out a few things of significance in the mural. The first is the entranceway, which we saw as a portal. And so we did this very ornate combination of architectural elements that we saw on buildings in the neighborhood. And then we just created this opening. And we left the center a little bit simple so that your eye is drawn towards it and not confused. The flowers that we picked they're not vegetables, which are what are grown on the roof. They're actually flowers that attract pollinators, which is, of course, one of the most important issues facing anyone growing food today is how do you attract pollinators for your garden? Then all the way up in the upper left, you'll see these little bubbles. And that's something that we just like to add to our murals. They give it a sense of lightness and mystery and wonder and whimsy and fantasy. And then the mural is done in a way to make it look like the building is cut away and you can see actually into the building. And that's one of the reasons why we have the green go behind the portal and then back. So it really looks like the portal is a freestanding element. One of the challenges that all mural painters have to deal with is how do we take our design and make it really big on the wall? There are several different techniques that are used. The easiest one is we take our design, then we do a black line tracing of everything in it, so it looks like a coloring book, and we photograph that and we throw it up with a video projector.
Since this project was about growing both food and community members were invited to participate in the painting process, including volunteers from Wells Fargo and even passers-by who wanted to help. So what happened if they messed up?
It's paint, we just paint over it.
Another challenge is impermanence. Much of Robert and Sarah's work has been lost to time, deterioration, and rehab.
Everything is impermanent. It took us a while to really adopt that as mural painters. The first few years, we had a lot of work up. It stayed in great shape. When our Lindy Squared mural got torn down, it really hit us hard. We didn't quite understand how important it was, not just to the city, but to us. And we just realized, okay, they're here, they're gone, it's our job. And so we had to make this transition.
But for today and into the distant future,
It's become a community asset. It's at a street corner that's heavily trafficked here in St. Louis and invites people to just sort of celebrate the colorfulness and the vibrancy of the city.
It's all about elevating people's spirits.